Rolling. All right, here we are in beautiful California. This is Billy and my co-host Tim, and we're gonna do the 2013 preliminary power rankings for all our viewers at home. So, me and Tim, we analyzed each team thoroughly, and we each came up with our own power rankings, and we differ on many accounts, but we're here to lay it out and let you know what we think of each one of your teams. So I'm going to let Tim start it off.
Alright guys, so as you may remember, last year was the first inaugural power rankings, and we were all pretty shocked to see Chris Cochran at the top of the rankings. We knew it was a mistake at the time, and he did really nothing to disprove that theory, so we won't be making that mistake again, let me just say that. Alright, so on to the rankings, and with the worst team in Tim's power rankings for the 2013 fantasy season, it's Fourth and Drunk. Blake, I'm sorry, man. I know how disappointing this must be because you were so excited for the power rankings when I saw you on the train over the city, but gotta put you at the bottom, and I'll tell you why. So, Blake's team looks pretty solid on paper. He's got LaShawn McCoy, CJ Spiller, and Reggie Bush. But can you think of three guys that are less sturdy and proven than those guys? All three of those are injuries waiting to happen. And then when you throw in the likes of Kaepernick in his first starting season, and Torrey Smith and Greg Olsen, oh, God. Can't do much about that. So
Kaepernick's a real question mark for me. I had McCoy last year. He was a bust. You never know what you're going to get out of him. So I think, Blake at the bottom is not a far stretch. But I'm going to have to disagree with Tim on this one. And in my power rankings, I have Cochran at the bottom. Cochran, I just think your team is shitty, man. RG3, big question mark. He's got the Q next to his name for a reason. He's injury prone. Who knows how he'll recover from that ACL injury. Dougie Martin and Ronnie Hillman, are you kidding me? Those are your two top running backs? I know you're after...
Hillman. Nothing like starting a second string running back to start the year.
Yeah, you can't be feeling good about that, Cock. I know you're interested in Shane Vereen, who just got benched, for your information, so I don't know if your interest has wavered there at all with Vereen, but maybe we'll be in talks. But, you have some solid wideouts, Cock, but Colston, you never know what you're going to get with that guy. Julio, I like that guy. He's a productive wideout in Atlanta. And Jimmy Graham, you got to be happy with that. But other than that, your team stinks, and you're number 10. So.
All right, so there you have it, the bottom dwellers of the power rankings. Moving on to number 9, where I have the aforementioned Cochran loaded. Billy hit the nail on the head with a lot of question marks. Just Ronnie Hillman just really speaks volumes. I know Le'Veon Bell's injured and whatever, kind of unlucky there. But when you're starting on week 1, a player who's not even starting on his own team, I don't know, Cochran.
Yeah, so me and Tim, we just switched our 9 and 10s, basically. I have Blake at number 9. Like I said, Kaepernick, he's an explosive quarterback, but he's only played 9 NFL games. We don't really know what we're going to get from him, and shady is shady. So, yeah, you're number 9, Blake.
All right, so number 8. This pains me because he's a consistent fantasy player, a solid runner-up last year, and a great profile picture on the power rankings. If anyone hasn't seen it, go look. But But with Moss out of the league, Pete, you just don't have that special mojo this year. And I got to put you at number 8. I'd love for you to prove me wrong, like you normally, come to play in fantasy. But the big thing that jumps out at me is 3 Green Bay Packers in your starting lineup, and none of them are very good. Like Randall Cobb, we'll see. He's okay. But James Jones, Jermichael Finley, I wouldn't touch Jermichael Finley with a 10-foot pole, okay? Like, I know Aaron Rodgers is throwing the ball, but he's pretty bad. Now, I will give Pete some props for this. I think Pete's choice of Gronk, whether it was in like the 7th or 8th round, probably the steal of the draft. I was pissed off at myself when I didn't take him because he's only going to be out a few weeks. So that might put Pete back over the top, replacing Jermichael with Gronk. But for now, like, I don't know. Really, the only player I like on Pete's team is Breeze and Forte, and Victor Cruz. Victor Cruz is my dog. But until you could do better than that, you're looking at an 8th place ranking.
I'm going to agree with Tim on this one. I got Pete sitting at number 8. The best to ever do it is a long stretch of a name. But yeah, your team Packers, that should be your team name. 3 Packers in a row here, 2 at wide receiver. I mean, only one of those guys can have a good game each week. So not sure the strategy there, but Breeze is solid. I hope Forte has a great year, but yeah, you're sitting at 8, Pete, and it's going to be a long season until Gronk comes back for you.
Alrighty, moving right along to number 7, and this team and this player is just the epitome of, like, not the worst player / team in the league, but just so far from the best, and that's why Trilla is coming in at number 7. Just looking at his roster, he's got guys that, like, you don't hate to have on your team, but I don't think anyone's like, yes, I got Steven Jackson. All right, like, 9 points, here we come. So same thing with, like, Grandma's Boy and Vincent Jackson. Those guys just don't do it for me. Like, they don't have the big plays. And you're just going to be looking at a bunch of 70 to 80 point weeks, which will get you some W's when you play teams like Cochran. But when you start playing the top half of the league, you're going to need more big play guys. So the Tarantulas coming in at number 7 on the power rankings.
At number 7 for me, I know this is going to pain Tim, but I got Calvin and Robs coming at 7. Tim's been talking a lot of shit since the draft, and I'm just sick of hearing it, basically. So I had to put him in the bottom half of my rankings.
It's a travesty.
Real question marks at running back for Tim, and his only solid guys are Rodgers, Calvin, and Roddy. And other than that, his
sounds
team,
like a lot of solid guys to me.
That's 3 of your 8 dudes at the position players. So I got Tim sitting at 7. We'll see if he proves me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I might have to amend my rankings. I've given BZ way too much credit this year. All right. Well, let's all just forget the last 30 seconds here and just try and move on to bigger and better things. Coming in at number 6 and rounding off the bottom half is Hick Money, and we'll see. He claims to have funds of this year and is changing his name, but we haven't seen anything yet. So until then, we're gonna assume that he is broke, and so is his squad. Like, just a quick glance, he's starting Zach Sudfeld at tight ends. Like, who the fuck is Zach Sudfeld?
Nobody knows.
I know, I get it. I get what you're doing here. He plays for the Patriots, and thinking he's going to turn into Gronk and Aaron Hernandez. But Gronk and Aaron Hernandez were beasts, and this dude looks like a chump. And then when you add Golden Tate and DeMarco Murray to a roster, with, Locke is okay, but I don't know. I see 3 guys on here that I like, and that just equals a 6th place team. That's just all there is to it.
For me, I got creating casualties coming in at 6. The Costantino brothers coming in at 6 and 7, bottom of the barrel,
And 8.
and 8. They're all in that bottom tier. They have a lot to prove to me this year.
Right, because we've never won leagues or been in the top 3 before.
I can't remember a time JC has actually created any casualties. So I got him sitting at 6. You got Cam Newton, who knows, who's his best wide receiver? Grandma's boy, an old man. He's washed up. I've learned that. He was my boy for the longest time, but he's washed up. And JC, you never know with him. He had a bust of a year last year. MJD, big question mark. You have solid wideouts. Deshaun Jackson's one stupid play away from a big long suspension. And that's why I got you at number 6, James.
Alright, so if you've noticed the fact that Billy's team has not been called for the bottom half of the rankings, and that hurts. It hurts me and probably my credibility, but I got him coming in at number 5. And I've given him a little bit more benefit of the doubt because I like his running backs. Morris and Richardson, I feel like you know what you're going to get out of them. Like, even though they were rookies last year, they were very solid. Didn't really have breakout plays in games, which is I think is good to see with your running backs. And then as much as Run DMC sucks ass, if he's your 3rd guy and you're not like depending on him, you can hold on. So I'm pumped that I don't have Mike Wallace this year because all he does is get like 3 points a game and it's really frustrating. Same with Vernon Davis, so I don't know. And Billy drafted Eli in like the 6th round, and all of his Cali buddies were like, "That's a great pick," and I'm like, "That's no good. That's no good."
Eli is